Finally, I made it. It's Monday, and this is my first ZONECAST. So, welcome. I'm here in my studio in Miami, and in the morning, I like to listen to jazz and bebop because it helps me. It helps me think. It's like it wakes my brain cells up. Let's get it going. The sun is finally out this week. Let's hope it stays out because it's been raining every day in Miami for the last 10 years. That's what it feels like. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in right now. Retweet, shout out the ZONECAST. I've never done just a talking ZONECAST, so I have a lot to talk about though. I'm just looking at it right here. Today we're talking about how to thrive as, I want to say, a femme of color, and especially Black, in music culture, because I feel like we don't talk about this enough or at all. It's something that clearly I experience on a regular basis, just trying to figure out, because we don't talk about these things. It's like, who's going to tell you that you could and how to? So yeah, getting into that. Just thanks for being here. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Shout out Post Binary. Shout out Swagger Kill. I see some peeps in the chat that always bring a smile to my face. So thank you for being here. Thanks for chatting with me. Feel free to chat in the comments because we chatting. That's why we're here. I could do one of those streams where I'm making beats and stuff, and I'll do that. But we don't talk enough. I play music all the time, but we don't talk enough. That's really the tea. All right, so I'm just gonna go down my list. I took some time to think about what it means to thrive, and tomorrow, in tomorrow's ZONECAST, I'm actually going to have more of an interactive way. So if you tune in today, tomorrow we're actually gonna have some interactive questions you can answer. So if you're tuning in today, you're getting the tea for tomorrow. Thank you for subscribing. You're awesome. Look, I'm a streamer. All right, so we are talking about how to thrive as a woman of color, a femme of color in music culture. What is music culture today like? I mean, there's so many different ways you can go about. Thanks for subscribing. There's so many different ways you can go about sharing your music and sharing your crafts. So one major way that you go about sharing your craft these days is streaming. We all know that there's been Bandcamp Fridays and there's Spotify, but we're not going to talk about Spotify right now. And there's YouTube and there's TikTok, and there's so many different ways, because right now at this point in time, due to some weird governing of our world, especially in the US, there is really no live shows, there's no gatherings, and so it's challenging to even think about thriving. How are you gonna thrive if you can't start? But don't think like that. Know that you're always starting. Each day is a new start. When you're in music and culture and in art, every day is a new start. So don't ever feel like, oh, I should have done this yesterday or whatever. So that's the first thing. Listen to your inner voice. Listen to your intuition. Hey, Unique, what's up? Shout out Jersey. We got the club queen in here. So the first thing I would suggest when you are thinking of what it means to thrive is, first you have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to your inner voice and your intuition. And what some people love to say is your third eye. I believe in my third eye. I actually have like a little mole right here, and it's like I always was like, this is my third eye permanent on my face. But you have to listen to your inner voice. Like when you start off in music as a femme or even non-binary or woman of color, there's really no guidance to date. Like, who do we look up to? Like, some of the greats in entertainment. Like, I mean, when I was younger, I was like, yeah, Billie Holiday. And it's like, actually, girl, she really had a lot of issues just trying to navigate in this world. Of course, we look up to Nina Simone. I feel like all the greats that I've looked up to from the past, that made music famous, they went through a lot of struggles. So that's an important um, chat put today. Like, we have to tune into how we can make that better. So the first thing I suggest is just listening to your inner voice. Like, when you have a perspective of a femme and non-binary person, and or it's like you don't listen, like it's like we are guided differently. Nina Simone, honestly, she showed us a lot of what it means to defy and tune out. And I'm going to talk about that actually. So shout out Nina Simone. So listening to your third eye is super important. Nina did it, Billie did it, all the greats that Shaka did it, Megan does it, Beyonce does it. It's like you can tell that what they choose to do is more internally like guided. It's not just guided by the forces around them. It's not just guided by the expectations, because when you are a woman of color or a femme of color, a non-binary person of color in music, you oftentimes feel like you want to go against the forces around you. Like, that's what I find. Yes, Grace Jones, Betty Davis, the great, Nasty Girl all day, the original. You can look at these documentaries. Thank you for the subscription. You can look at these documentaries and you can literally see that these women said, okay, people want me to be attentive to them and be a housewife and be a wife and be a this. And they were like, nah, actually, I'm following my spirit. My spirit is telling me to go in a certain direction. So you have to really own that. Own that sense of, I don't even want to say rebellion, but it's just your sense of self. Like, it's your sense of purpose. And it's really important to cultivate that trust within yourself, to listen to yourself and listen to your intuition. And so that brings us to the next point, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but we have to learn how to balance the noise. Like, I actually am always doing exercises with noise around me. Actually, right outside, they're doing construction. I'm in my studio. Back here, we got some horns playing, but I'm keeping my train of thought. Why? Because you have to learn to balance the noise. A lot of people in this chat today are artists and musicians, and it's like, sometimes we could train our ears to like do whatever we want. And one of those things will be just following your inner voice, following that intuition, and not tuning out the noise, but balancing the noise. Like, I got one ear here and I got one ear here. And the more you're in tune with yourself, that balance actually starts to add value to how you move. That's a great point. It's important to be guided by inner force, yes. Because on the exterior, it's like we're indoctrinated by going to school. So school, like public schools, private schools, it doesn't matter what kind of Catholic school, whatever school you went to from kindergarten to senior year, that really set us up to learn how to operate in a system and how to reward ourselves with grades and reward ourselves with, oh, I'm the student government leader, like whatever you did in high school or middle school or whatever. It's kind of like unless you learn how to tune into yourself, you're always going to be that person that's like looking for an A plus. Like, you don't want to be that. That just limits how much you can actually thrive. We're talking about thriving. We're not talking about getting a good grade, because that's just like expected behavior, right? Like, to just do your homework, do as told, and that's not listening to yourself. That's not like being guided by your inner force. As post-binary is sharing, um, we have to learn how to utilize doing well. Like, doing well is like a tool. It's really like a tool. It's like when you're doing well, it's like great. I mean, that's how I used it in high school and middle school. I'm not gonna lie, I was good at school, but I was doing whatever. But you know why? Because I was like, if I just do well over here, no one's gonna pay attention when I'm doing this over here. And that's how you negotiate that kind of indoctrination. Like, I hope this is making sense. Somebody give me a thumbs up if this is making sense. We going deep on a Monday. But that's what ZONECAST is for. ZONECAST is just a broadcast of whatever is in my world, in my head. So 2 thumbs up. All right, we making sense. Check out, just want to do a little shout out to my emote. I made an emote, so if you want to grab that, it's like at the top you can see chaos. I can't not dance when chaos is around. So what up to chaos? Definitely storming the scene right now. Please check out their new music on Never Normal. We just dropped a remix, Black Cat featuring Lord Narf at the ATL. You know what? I'm supposed to be talking, but I'm acting like I'm in the club, in the party. That's just what you're gonna get from me on a Monday. So, hello, Mark. I know your name is Mark. You have it backwards today. Word. So anyway, back to balancing the noise. When you learn how to balance the noise, you see what I just did, how I just like tuned out and tuned back in. You can set your pace in the game. Like, in the game of music entertainment, it's all about pacing. It's not about like throwing yourself at every given opportunity. It's really just about pacing oneself and really finding your rhythm. We're in music. You have to find your own rhythm that works for you. And to do that, you have to tune in to yourself, tune into your inner voice, your third eye, your intuition. That's your guiding force. Before you have to consult with anybody, you have to consult with yourself. Second, learn how to balance the noise. It's going to be a lot of people around you all the time. And a lot of people push their expectations on you. A lot of people, posture themselves to try to shape you in a certain way, especially when you're non-binary, especially when you're a femme of color in this game. They're like, well, you could be like the next so-and-so. Like, nah, I'm about to be the next me. Like, what do you mean? Like, I wasn't born to be the next so-and-so. I'm just the next, period. Like, that's it. Yes. So balance that noise out. And listen, so the noise is there to help. Don't look at noise. I feel like we have this misconception in culture that noise is something that we should always tune out. And I think that we need to learn and refocus on how to use noise as something to help inform us, because noise is information. When there's a car crash, and hopefully there's no more car crashes ever in the world, but if there was ever a car crash, like, be a positive on a Monday, y'all, and you hear the car, you're like, yo, okay, it's a crash. Like, it's noise, right? But it informs you at the same time. If you hear anything, if you hear noises down the hall, you're like, who's that? Like, that's information. So noise isn't always something that you have to tune out. Noise is something that you need to learn how to balance, especially as a femme or non-binary person of color in this music and entertainment game, because we're going to receive a bulk of the noise. Because people are going to judge us, like, all the time. They're gonna judge us, they're going to impose on us, they're going to, like, say that we should be doing X, Y, Z. We got an EQ, yes. We about to have a mixing racks on deck, just in our minds. Like, treat your mind like an EQ filter. You're like, oh my balance, less highs. Like sometimes you just gotta, this like looks cool. That's actually how I do it in my head. EQ the noise. That's great. I love that. I'm actually writing that down. One thing I said about ZONECAST was I'm here talking with y'all, engaging with y'all, and so I'm actually like writing down notes like as we go because we're learning together. Like I have tips that help me, and we make this feedback with EQ the noise. I love that. Yes, EQ the noise. So what else we doing? All right. Pay attention to how you are spending your time. Right now, you're spending your time in a great way with me. But there's so many usages of time, right? So I kind of broke it down. Like, there's like two aspects that I categorize time in. Like, we usually, just as human beings and creatures of comfort and creatures of like habit, we resort to like two main areas of comfort and pleasure, and then like survival, right? So when I'm spending my time doing survival things, I don't quite focus on the comfort and pleasure. But how can those start to intertwine more and more? That actually comes to be when you are becoming more intentional with your work, more intentional with your art, more intentional with your music. You can actually mix pleasure, comfort, and the necessity to survive into one form, and it takes time. It's not anything like you're gonna get up and do just tomorrow. Like, I mean, I hope you start today, but it's not like you're gonna be like, I know how to do this now. Like, no. For me, and everybody, I would assume that when we were like a little younger, it's like depending on how you grew up, and I always hold so much space and value for how we grow up, but I don't use it to determine how we're going to come to be. So, as a kid, we allowed ourselves time to dream. Like we read books, we played outside, we did things just to stimulate how we wanted to feel because some of our needs were met. We gotta speak the language of our peers, yes. Some of our needs were met. Like I wasn't cooking my own dinner every night when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what was I doing? I was writing songs. I was recording. I was like, how does this thing work? And if you can see, it's my tape machine. You can hear it. I had the same tape machine when I was little. So I was recording on this a lot when I was younger because I had time and energy. I didn't have to focus on survival, but yet not so much. I mean, I had to keep myself alive, thankfully. But now I'm grown, and the lights gotta stay on, the phone gotta stay on, the streams gotta stream, the tracks have to track. Everything has to happen, and it's on me, right? And all of these things add to ways that I can help my survival, help my thrive. And thriving is just the act of experiencing it and not actually doing it, especially from a place of survival. Actually experiencing your art form and embracing, enjoying, breathing into it. It's not all about like, I gotta do this just because I need a check. So we have to balance that. Pay attention to how you're spending your time, balancing that. Allow for time to do each. Definitely focus on survival. Definitely focus on taking care. But just like we're EQing and balancing the noise, we need to balance that comfort and pleasure side with the survival side. And that goes into tip number 4, balance your time. When you balance your time, I'm not even going to say super schedule everything, but I have found that there's more time to thrive in the process when I have a schedule. And because a lot of us here are independent, we kind of like, we haven't had that wake up. Today is the wake up. Schedule yourself. Schedule your time. It's only going to help. It's only going to support the way that you actually want to move forward with yourself in the future. Everything we do with people, it requires order. Just plain and simple. It's just human nature. Like, you know, how flowers grow. You gotta plant the seed and then this and then that and then this and then that. So why would we act like we don't need to schedule things for ourselves in order to grow? Like, you know, it's just basic. Like, even when it storms outside, first the clouds have to gather. Well, first it has to be a cold front. Y'all didn't know I love weather. I love weather. And then, you know, all of the clouds accumulate, and then there's order in nature. So there has to be order for your process, especially as a non-binary or femme-identifying person of color in the music game. Because our stories and how we love music and culture is so connected to our actual birthright of culture, I'm definitely gonna say that. Like, you know, everything that we create, especially us youth, like, it's inspired by things that are pre-existing, club music and hip hop and all that's pre-existing. So we kind of feel like we should be able to just jump in this and do this, right? Like, I'm just gonna make this track and then this gonna happen. Okay, I get that this is our birthright, but at the very same time, there has to be order in the process. And so when you balance your time and you take to ritualizing, balancing your time by schedule time to dream, schedule time to lab, schedule time to do nothing. Please find time to rest. Finding time to rest is a great aspect of thriving. We can't stay in go mode. It's really not healthy. It will really burn us out. I don't care how poppin' you look. I don't care what, you know, like, I don't care what somebody's telling you to decide. Balance the noise. We have to learn how to rest. We can't be on go mode all the time. I mean, this time last year, I went to 7 countries in 30 days for my Zones World Tour. And I'm looking back like, you know, I loved doing that, and I will do that again. But, whew, gotta balance that out. Gotta balance that out. And sometimes we're so excited to just get to it. But as much as you get to it, like, this year, honestly, has been a balance year. It's just like, okay, girl, you went so hard last year. Actually, set some more stuff up and chill. And embrace that. Don't ever feel hard on yourself. Like, I'm not doing enough. Like, honestly, never feel like that. I'm just gonna be real. Never, ever, 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 ever feel like you are not doing enough. Every single day that you wake up and you take to moving forward in your life, you're doing enough. It doesn't matter if you did 1 thing or 10 things. You're doing enough. So never, ever tell yourself you're not doing enough, because then you're being a thief of your own joy. And you don't want to compare. You don't want to compare. You want to be informed. Like, it's just so many ways. Yes, you subscribe ahead. Thank you. Oh, 100. Yeah, you do. You know what I mean. I'll just, we're all friends in here. Like, watching you, Unique, this year, like, I feel like you felt similarly to me. Like, we were on the go so much. And now, like, I've seen you, like, get more into production, see you get more into your art and everything. And it's like, isn't it so great to have this time to just not be in the club, like, every single weekend? Like, it's good. You have to balance that time. So even when things get back, even when shows come back, this year has really shown me, especially for us, femmes of color, because what happens, like, why are some of our favorite, let's be real, like, why are some of our favorite, like, women of color artists and femmes and non-binary people, like, why do they fall off? Like, why? Like it makes us sad every time, right? We're like, they used to hit back, and I get there's personal choices, but like, why do people fall off? Usually because they're over it. Why are they over it? Because they didn't balance their time. Gotta balance their time. You gotta see the long term. Like, see, I'm doing this now, but there's goals for the future. So if you do it all at once, you can't really hit the goals. You're gonna just be like performing, performing, performing. Now let's be real. Femme, non-binary people, queer people, we're always expected to perform. We're always expected to perform, like to just stay on and just like, yeah, I'm here. What's the tea? Like, okay. Listen, when my do-rag comes on, it's on. And I'm trying to wear my do-rag more often. Y'all know what I mean. It's just about finding that balance. Yes, it feels ridiculous to always be on. Yes, exhausting, ridiculous. I mean, listen to the phrases that we're using. We know that this is not the energy that's sustainable. So the tips that I'm sharing today is for us to stay in a sustainable mindset, because we can try to combat everything in the world because the world tells us to. The world tells Black people, people of color, that we are supposed to do the emotional work for the world. Like this election. Oh, the Black women saved us. Okay, yes, we have a strong moral ground because we have been truly, truly ignored in this world. And who's gonna know how to make their voice heard more than the most ignored people? We really know, but do we just let it all out at one time? No. No. We're strategic because we know what we want our future to be. We know what we deserve. And it's not just throwing yourself to the wind. We deserve foundation. We deserve solidity. We deserve so much more than just being willy-nilly and in the wind and being like, whatever you want me to do, like, I'll save you. Like, no, we cannot do that. Yes, like, can we chill, please? So, again, balance your time. As you can see, balance your time was a big one that I wanted to talk about. I'm still learning. If you know, talk with me on a regular, you know, we schedule out our time because I want to have time to tune into you. When, like, that's why I said, once you get this process, this mindset of balancing this, all tuning out the noise, listening to yourself, you're like, okay, this is too much for me today. Just for today, but tomorrow I might pick this up. Like, that's thriving when you know you have options and you know you can switch it up because it's going to help you to feel confident. Like, you can't thrive without confidence. So every step that you take in the game has to be so you can gain more confidence. And because there's no blueprint, we have to manage a lot ourselves. But that's not a problem because we've been managing so much in this world and making a lot of things happen for since the beginning of time. So yes, y'all know what I mean. Y'all know who I'm talking to. All right, so allow yourself to daydream and play, but come back after that daydream and play. You know, go on your trips, go get lost in nature, go do what you want, but come back. And when you come back, use that energy to restore and refresh. Restore and refresh. Restoration is huge. We definitely need time to restore ourselves, just like our bodies. If you work out, you know, we work the muscle, pump it up, and then you have a rest day. You can't just work the same muscle the next day. That's the same thing. Like, I use like natural illusions a lot just because nature tells us everything in the order that we need. Yes, learn what resting really is. What do y'all feel like resting is? For me, I try to rest like everything. So I try to just turn off completely, like, and not even necessarily. I mean, I use CBD, which is legal here in Florida. That really helps. even the CBD like creams, it helps. I like to rest all of my neurons, as many neurons as possible. Like, as human bodies, we are just pulses of electricity, right? Yeah, and I'm Suzi Analogue, so you know we're gonna get a little technical. But I like to rest anything, any tension in my body. I go here because I always have tension. Ever since like middle school, I've always had tension in my left shoulder. And then one day they were like, that's a nerve thing. And then I'm like, nerve endings? That's electrical impulses. I'm like, what's going on? So I always think to the cellular level as to what rest is. We gotta rest everything. Everything comes off. We exfoliate. We rest the follicles of our hair. We relax our muscles. We breathe. And lately, I've been doing some breathing exercises with a coach, and it's not even for singing, not for nothing, just so I can reconnect with my body. This year has been traumatic. If you've been following, I've lost people this year that were really important to me, and I had to really rest my whole existence. Like, I had to really, like, it almost felt like I was born again. It almost, like, the feelings and the sensations that I had, it was like I went into, like, a portal, and, like, my body was like, you need the full on, like, you need to reconnect with how you felt when you were little, like when you felt like no physical weariness. Like, that's how deep I had to go in. As people of color, we have to go that deep, because this world outside here, it puts a lot of physical strain. Even the emotional strain turns into physical strain, especially for women of color, femme, and non-binary people. There is a phenomenon called weathering. Definitely look up what weathering is. There's not been so much research on weathering, but there has been very good research on weathering. So it is the idea that the racist implications of this world actually physicalizes within us, and year by year wears us down. There is this phrase that says, black don't crack. All right, well, yeah, pores looking good, skin looking good, but what's happening on the inside? Are we taking in are we internalizing all of this strife that we experience? Is it messing up our digestive system? Is it messing up our lower back, our chakras? Like, we have to break all blockages of the energy. So the rest, when you go into rest mode, you have to think about unlocking every tension, taking it all away from your body, breathing, stretching. Nobody told me to stretch growing up, so I'm telling you how to stretch right now. And anybody who's super physical knows stretching is, so many illnesses, so many conditions could be just saved by stretching properly, getting that blood flow. I'm stretching right now. Yes, Jersey just got legalized. I'm definitely pulling up to every city in every state that legalizes hemp, marijuana, all of that, because why not? Why not? Like, that plant is invented for us to relax. It relaxes all different parts of our bodies and minds. And so the benefits are really high. And so if you don't, partake, that's fine. But I would definitely suggest CBD, because we have to rest on a neural level. That's just me. And yeah, rest. I probably do another ZONECAST just about rest, because like, it's that important. So when I'm in the studio though, like, let's talk about how we rest, like, in the process. Instead of, like, I'm not the type of person to, like, just track. Like, I will, but I'm more so like binge track. So I'll, like, track, and it's, when I say binge, it's crazy. I think, like, that's how the rock stars used to do it in the 70s. Like, they used to just be like, yeah, I'm going on a bender with my tracks, and like that was healthy, but they didn't do the rest and But you know, I track maybe for a few days. I go grocery shopping. I make sure I have my needs. I go grocery shopping. I get, you know, I got my juice, I got my snacks, I got my food that I just want to pop on the stove that's quick. So I don't have to spend like on Uber Eats. Like, um, some of the rest is rest your wallet. Let's talk about that. But yeah, doing that, and then just going in on tracks and being intentional. Because when I sit down, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna let myself explore what I feel, but once I hit a certain point, I'm like, all right, looks like I want to make some dance tracks. Looks like I want to make some ambient tracks or whatever I want to make, and I just focus on that. And that focus and intention brings me clarity. It brings clarity and it brings a sense of awareness to what I'm doing, so I feel confident to go about it, and I'm not just like, what am I going to make, like, you know. But while I'm making it, speaking of rest, I let things play sometimes, like over and over and over, just like to let my ears get used to it. So I'm not even like pulling my ears in different directions, like, I gotta add this, I gotta add this, I gotta add this. Like, no, just sit. Just sit with your sounds. Like, repeat it to yourself. Like, when we're making art, it becomes a piece of us that lives with us. So like, live with your process, live with your music, live with the art that you're making while you're making it. It's super important. And that's just one way I use rest in the studio. And I also in the studio have like an ergonomic. I actually have a gamer chair. I'm in my art studio, but my music studio has a gamer chair. So you'll probably see me on a ZONECAST in my gamer chair, like a real gamer, playing this game of life. So yeah, rest, super important. Daydream, balance your time, but come back and always stay intentional to what you're doing. The next tip is learn yourself every day, every single day. Like, don't ever say to yourself, yo, I'm just like this. No, you're not. Like, we all evolve. Like, what do you think evolution is about? We all evolve daily. Like, who I was yesterday is a lot of who I am today, but I know a little bit more. And as we get wiser, we can't assume and we can't have all these fallbacks. Don't assume on yourself. Don't assume that you are the person of yesterday. like, like, I say this because no one ever tells women of color or femmes or non-binary people, like, we really don't get bigged up. We really don't. Nobody ever comes to us and is like, yo, I see you growing. Like, hardly ever does anyone keep it real with us and say, yo, like, what you did this year and last year, yo, I see where you're going. Like, why? I don't know what's wrong with them. But I'm here to tell you, especially everybody that's here, I see what you're doing, and I see you going every day. And like, you know? And so learn yourself each day. Even if you don't get that big up, that shout out, know that, you know, if you listen to your inner voice, that you're growing every single day, and allow yourself that space to grow. Learn your limits. I learned, like, if you try to schedule same day something with me, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I actually learned just this year, I like to operate knowing things like days in advance. Like, maybe that sounds a little elementary, but I just learned it because I was always on the road and I was always like on the go. And before I lived in Miami, I lived in New York, and you know, that's always on the go, and it's really split second decision making that happens when you live up north. Like, but since I've been here, Miami, it's outside, so I'm like, here. One day I'm gonna get the camera and actually just give y'all a little swear. But yeah, since I've been here, I'm like, the pace is more what I need. I actually learned more about the pace that I needed to thrive and decided to move to Miami because I noticed, like, yeah, I could stay up in New York. I could be here. My family's from the Bronx. Like, of course, like, I love New York. I love the energy. But am I gonna just be running around like a little chicken with her head cut off? Like, yeah, I would. Because I know that I love to get into everything. So it's like, if I love to get into everything, I actually had to learn myself, like, actually take some things away. and still get into everything. You could do a little bit more. You open up that space. It's like if you ever practice yoga, say you do the downward dog, first one, it's a little tight in your back. You're like, I don't know, doesn't feel good. But by the third downward dog, you've elongated that space. You've created more space. So that's basically what I did. I just took a stretch. I just took a stretch by moving, because I learned that I could. I learned that I could. No one told me. That's why we're having this convo. No one tells us we can do what we want. We can do what we want. We don't have to stay where we are. Now, I will always tell you, you don't have to stay where you are. When I say learn yourself, learn the exact environment that inspires you. Like, so when I moved down to Miami, I realized I love, just being able to have my own pace, but I needed to go to New York, because that pace actually is a part of me too. I needed to go up south. Like I haven't gone all year. I feel like so, I don't know, so new to not go. But with all that's going on, I'm just trying to stay safe. So when I knew that, like, I need to take the subway sometimes. Like I need those rides, because that's how I even thought of my label, taking long rides from the Bronx to Brooklyn on the subway, on the express bus, like 3 hours at a time, have my notebook, writing down everything. Like I need that. I need to be in transit sometimes. I need to like be in a car sometimes, just to like do what, get some thoughts out. I need travel. Like I learned that I need travel. It's something that stimulates me, and it's a process that adds to my art. But it's taken me time to learn that. I just thought, oh, traveling is something you do when you go visit family, or like when you go visit a friend. It's like, nah, it can mean so much more. So when you learn yourself, you will learn what you need. I need to drink water when I first wake up. It's just little things that you learn. Like this year, I've learned a lot. I'm pretty sure you have too. But now's the time, especially as we're getting towards the end of the year, where you can pay attention and you can say, yo, all these things that I've been doing, like, what are of those things? What are the things that have like really made me feel better each day? And that's once you start connecting the dots of what helped you to feel better each day, you can start to lean more into your thrive, because you're going to be able to set up a system for yourself of engaging with those things that helped you to feel better each day. It's going to bring so much value to your process. But it's a everyday learning. Every day learn yourself. Okay, now the next one, super important. Build the support how you can. The support for your music, the support for your art, the support for your endeavors, build it how you can. How you can. Don't build it how somebody else is doing it. Don't build it how you can. When you start to connect those dots and see what's working for you, and start to be mindful, start to jot down what really is working in your favor, you can see, okay, yo, over here, they were feeling that. And over here, they were feeling that, but maybe, they were a little confused. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over here. And I think these people will support my next move. So, trying to think of some examples of building the support how you can. But one major way is like what we're doing right now, connecting with online communities. Because when I was younger, I allowed myself that time to explore. I was a part of a lot of online communities, even as a teen. And I was like a big chat room person, and I was like really on forums and things like that. And so I saw little communities, and it wasn't even the community. I didn't regard it as a community at that time, but I'm like, this is a group of people that love a certain thing, and I love it too. So maybe this is a group of people that I could share ideas with. It's that simple. Once you see there are groups of people that you have common interests with, you share your ideas more and more, right? But when I say build the support, it's like sometimes we think, well, how can I do, especially as a person of color, a black person, non-binary, femme, queer, we're like, how can I do this when I don't have this? That's our common way of thinking. How can I do this if I do not have this yet? All right, what do you have? Use what you have. Don't focus on what you don't have. You have to use what you have. If you have a dope friend that does design, you reach out to them. Of course, we know that. Like, reach out to the people that you know, but reach out to the people that really vibe with you, and just be vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable to build that support. You're not gonna build support by being like, okay, I got all this going on. I just like need you to like come do this. Like, no, you have to build organically and build it as you can. It's one connection at a time. I will be honest, when I came in music, I didn't know nobody. My family's from the Bronx, but I grew up with my mother, and my high school was across the street from a cornfield. I literally didn't know anybody, y'all. Like, when you see me posting like throwbacks and pictures with people, I'm really happy because I really did. I didn't have any. Well, I have sister who two half sisters who are older than me, and they kind of like into art and culture, but it's not like they ever was like, here, meet this person or do this. Like, I didn't have that family structure that was getting me in the game. I didn't really have a network at all. So it's just really, I'm humble and honored to be able to connect with people, um, and know that it's been one person at a time, and seeing that I've thought this person is valuable just to know, just to talk with. Maybe they should meet this person. That's one strategy that I have as far as building the support, because we're all in this thing together. You have to realize we're all in this together. That's why we're having these talks. So we can really think about our community and like how we can support one another by even just talking, just talking, just talking goes so far. Go so far. If we don't talk, we don't work. If we don't talk, we don't imagine. If we don't talk, we can't do anything. So organically building with talking. Schedule out the talks now. People can't talk your ear off all day, 24/7. Just hit you up whenever. You know, create. I don't even want to say those boundaries, but schedule, balance your time. But yes, build the support how you can. You might not have the manager and the booking agent and this and that yet, but you got that homie that believes in you. Look, make some moves together. Find a common interest. Find a shared goal. When you find a shared goal with someone, you can move forward with it. You can say, yo, I know you want to do this and I want to do this. Boom, put it together, connect, stay intentional, keep it pure. That's hard. Keeping it pure. A lot of times when we collaborate with people, sometimes things go awry because there's other weird thoughts that, like, you know, jealousy and this and that. Watch out for those signs and keep the intentions pure, and move forward with the people that have their own goals. You gotta link with people that got goals. You can't just link with just anybody, but build that. Each time you make a connection and then you connect that connection, then you connect that connection with another connection, you're building your whole infrastructure. You're building your support system. You're building your own network. And it doesn't matter what so-and-so has over here and so-and-so has over here. As long as your thing is functioning, you're going to be able to do what you want to do. It's just simple. We're figuring out every day, even me. I'm sharing this. I'm a peak Leo. I can share mad info and still be figuring it out. But we're all in this together. So that brings us to the next tip. Ask for assistance, ask for help. Simple. Like, we sometimes think that we have to do everything ourselves, especially when we're just getting started. Just ask what, hey, would you mind? Could you? I think I need 3 phrases to just get familiar with. Because if you're gonna thrive, you cannot, thriving is not doing everything yourself. I repeat, thriving is not doing everything yourself. Like, I'm telling this to me, you, and anybody else who hears it, because I need this message too. Thriving is not doing everything by yourself. Sharing that energy, bringing that energy together, connecting those dots, finding the people with the shared goals. You're going to be able to ask for more assistance and help, but don't think, yo, I'm just going to do this. And there's moments of breakthroughs. Yes, I feel like everyone's too timid to do this. Okay, let me tell you why we're too timid to ask for assistance and help. Because when you are Black, of color, woman, femme, non-binary, queer, people tell you no without even saying the words no. They just literally turn their backs. Why? Because they don't know. They don't know what's good. That's literally why, because they just don't know what's up. They are not tuned in to themselves. They are indoctrinated in a system that they think works for them that doesn't work for them. And we know that because we take on a bulk of the realities of the world. The world tells us that's all we're here to do. So when you're here to take the fall of the weight of the world, that's what they want us to, we're not here for that, but that's what they want us to believe. To take the fall for the weight of the world, you don't feel like you can ask for help. Because you're like, wait, I'm supposed to feel this and I'm supposed to make it better. Like, and I'm talking to me right now too. I really go through this. Like, I know for a fact we are not here as women of color, as femme, non-binary people of color to take on the weight of the world. So we deserve, just as much as anyone else deserves to ask for help. We deserve to ask for assistance. We deserve to just, and even if you don't want to ask for help, because like the concept of help feels like, oh, I need help. Just ask a question. Get comfortable asking people questions. Hey, do you know anybody that, hey, would you mind? Like, those little kind of precursor questions go so far. But we don't feel like we're worthy. And it's sad. That's the sad reality. We don't feel like we're worthy because the world, in a socialized way, tells us that we are just here to stand by and produce and help and assist. We're supposed to assist. Let's look at the history lessons, especially if we're talking about the United States. How have Black women, Black femmes, non-binary people, what have we been forced to do historically? Assist and help without any kind of connecting to what we wanted for our own lives. We were forced to feel that we had to help others. So now we're in 2020 going to 2021. We have to break the chains. We have to break that mindset. We have to know that what our ancestors did afforded us space, time, and energy. The way they fought for us to be able to ask for help. Our ancestors afforded us the right to be able to ask for help. It's simple. Like, they went through so much. And if I'm not asking for assistance, what am I doing? You know, it's not weak, it's strong. It should be restructured, you know. Our mindset should be. When you are asking for help, you're just strengthening. You're just strengthening your process. You're just strengthening what you can do and how you can do it. So I think amongst ourselves and our peers, also to your point, Unique, like I think we have to actually get more comfortable with talking on a regular basis, get to know each other a little bit more. So there's a lack of assumptions that like, oh, they think I'm asking because of this or that. Like, we have to take all that competitive BS out of asking for help. Like, I'm sorry, but as people of color and Black people, like, literally, we all we got. As far as knowing where we're coming from, as far as like like connecting to the support we need, we all we got. So we can't know that we all we got and not talk to each other and ask for help. We have to do one or the other. And I would rather talk to each other and connect and build systems within ourselves, build our collectives. Um, and I'll get into this on another Zonecast, but it's changing the concept of the economy that we live in. Um, we can build a new economy called the solidarity economy, but we have to work at it. And so, just sharing info, just thoughts that I think as to how we can reach these goals. Um, Next tip kind of goes into like asking for assistance and help, but also putting yourself out there. Like never hide. Never hide. Never hide. Like never hide. Literally never hide. Do not hide. You're talented. You are a force. You are a being. Like you can go into your solitude. You can configure how you're doing your art. You can, but do not hide. This world, this system, these systems make us feel sometimes ashamed. Like we should go. Oh, I'm just gonna like when people do things like delete their profiles off of the internet. I'm like, this is human history. Like, don't delete yourself. Like, literally keep that. Even if, for me, there's a lot of memories that I wouldn't even remember if I didn't have like archives. So you see me share like throwbacks and on this day without these kind of archives of self that are digital. I really sometimes wouldn't remember like, wow, why would I ever want to delete? Like, I know we all go through things. So sometimes there's periods in our lives where we're not so proud of our behaviors, or we're not so proud of the people that we're around, or people, you know, didn't make us feel the greatest. But beyond that, there's a lesson. There's a lesson, and you can't hide from these things, these times. Like you have to put yourself out into the world. How you're gonna thrive is by putting yourself out into the world in the way that you deem fit. So I'm not saying overexpose yourself, but just don't hide. Don't do the opposite either. And just again, why do our faves fall off? Where did they go? Girl, you could have been dropping this song right now. Like we would have still been listening had you just kept it flowing. Because as we move into the future, I think we will have a lot more empathy for the low points that people have gone through. Hopefully, they're able to bounce back, as we say. And so, just never feel ashamed of your growth timeline. Don't feel ashamed of it. I go back and look at my pictures. I'm like, those pictures are ashy. I was taking them on the iPod Touch. But I still share them with y'all because it's real. Like, it's really what happened. Like, I didn't always just have, like, photographers coming and shooting me. Like, man, I never used to have photographers coming and shooting me. Like, I'm definitely a self-portrait queen. And luckily, like, I'm inspired by, you know, like, Cindy Sherman and Frida Kahlo and all these people that are, like, these are the artists that existed to prove to us that we could document ourselves and share our stories. So looking to artists and seeing how they survived and made their stories heard over time is super important. And it's a super good lesson to learn how to not hide yourself. Because had we not known about them, we wouldn't have been inspired in the ways that we are today. So never hide. And the last tip, live out your dreams how you can. Just like I said, connect and build your support how you can. Live out your dreams how you can. Don't worry about how so-and-so is going to Tulum or Dubai or whatever they're doing. Listen, You have to figure out where you want to go. Like, and why do you want to go there? Live out your dreams as you can. If you're just living other people's dreams based on what you see and not actually taking it in, thinking about it, why do you want to play this festival? Like, there's festivals I don't want to play. That like everybody's like, you should play this. I don't want to play it. It doesn't stand for how I feel like my dream should go. You know, learn how to live out your dreams as you can. Maybe it's more valuable for me playing a festival in the middle of the continent of Africa is more valuable than playing like some mainstream festival that's not even gonna like really support me after the event. Like, you know, live out your dreams how you can, um, and that comes, you know, down to building with people, financing, everything. How you can do it. Just again, get in touch with yourself, your intuition, and do it as you can. Um, to do that, you have to invest in yourself. It's very important to invest in yourself, in every single way. In every single way. Everything I said and shared today are different ways to invest in yourself by tuning into different aspects of your needs as an artist and a person and a human in this world. Um, and overall, if you still feel like a little shaky, you might have, you know, assistants in your corner. You might have, you know, people helping you get some videos together, some art together. But if you feel like, what step should I take next? Like, I don't know. I can't see myself in the future, because you have to daily envision yourself in the future. Seek mentorship, please. Mentorship is the best situation. Like, especially for us, people of color, black people, like, all my mentors have been so, like, my mentors got popping streams. I'm just getting to the streams. Like, my mentors like have popping streams on sneakers, how to be like women sneakerheads in the game, and I'll share some of those as we go forward. I have a Discord, so you can add it. It's in the corner. I'm gonna start to get active on the Discord and start to share some of the things that I'm talking about today, and on different ZONECASTs. But yeah, like, my mentors really showed me the way. They were making documentaries on global music culture, having film festivals, and working with different music artists. And it's like, again, I didn't have those family members or people looking out for me, no one wanting to come in and capitalize off of my talents, which was weird. You know, at first I was like, why is no one exploiting me? I'm so happy I never was exploited as an artist, in that way, where I had somebody come in and try to say, Suzi Analogue should be like this. Like, nah. Instead, I had mentors. And my mentors would ask me questions. And they would actually get me to think critically. And it's hard to find mentors, I think, from what I've experienced. Like, it's hard to find mentors just like cold. You have to connect the dots. Like, my mentors have come from different experiences. Some I have asked to mentor me, or I said, hey, I'm interested in working closer with you. I love what you're doing. Are there any projects I can help out with? And those kind of situations took me to being like a PA on a film set, or doing things like that I didn't think I would do, because I went ahead and took that time to ask and show interest. But then I had mentors that were basically gifted to me. Like, people are like, yo, you and this person, y'all need to link up. They got some stuff going on. And instead of coming to them like, again, knowing yourself and connecting those dots, instead of coming to them and being like, they need to be my manager. Yo, everybody, sometimes you need to be your manager. I mean, everybody don't need to be your manager or work for you. Sometimes you just need to grow with people and learn from people. And there's certain people in the game you'll meet, and you'll know when you meet them, yo, this person, I should fall back in and just, you know, let them know what I'm doing, and help support what they're doing. Because especially if they're another person of color, femme, a woman of color, black, like, they're oftentimes going to be doing too much on their own too. So there's ways we can help each other organically. find solidarity, and you can learn a lot in the process. Always be a student in this game. If you want to thrive, learn how to learn, because it's going to be never ending, really never ending journey of learning. No one has truly allowed us to believe that we could do otherwise. But we can learn, we can take time, we can take notes, we can revisit them, we can document, we can come back. We have space, we have time. Um, these are elements that we need to understand so we can thrive, so we can do what we want to do in art, in music, in culture, how we can connect and build our communities to be healthier. We don't have to have all this competition and all this cutthroat, divisive energy based on capitalism. We could do so much more. But first, we have to bring the thrive to ourselves so we can bring that thrive to our communities. And yeah, those are my tips for today. Just on Monday. I've talked a lot for an hour. I didn't even know I was going to talk that much. I'm so happy if you're still here. Give me a thumbs up. There we go. Yeah. Okay, y'all still rocking with me? I couldn't see how many people were here. I'm gonna be going live tomorrow too. We're gonna talk about how to build international collaborations. Just a little background on that. I really started doing that when I was like 19. I started sending demos to a label in Europe, but that also opened my eyes to so many other ways to collaborate internationally. And now there's not a week that goes by where I don't have a chat and I'm not working on at least 5 different collaborations with different artists around the world. And of course there's online, but there's so many other ways that we could collaborate internationally. So I'll be touching on some points tomorrow. Trying to get my hours in and maximize this time. Yes, and maximize the time for you. Spend this time, especially this end of the year. Like next month, I'm really cutting back on doing. It's January. We did, or it's gonna be December. We did January through November. Doing is out in December. Especially with the way the world's looking right now. Like, take time to journal, take time to focus in, take time to come to you. And then once we start this calendar year, as I guess, a calendar year, if you believe in those sorts of things, then you'll feel refreshed. And I'm hoping that these ZONECAST can be ways that we can just engage and trigger, stimulate different thoughts of wellness within ourselves and conversations that we need to be having in our communities. If you have any suggestions and any questions, definitely shout it out on my Instagram post. And tomorrow, like, I'll take in more consideration and even shout back out some of the suggestions and any thoughts you have from today. I would love, just drop them on the last Instagram post I made about today's chat, and I will definitely be checking it out and sharing whatever feedback I got. And yeah, this is definitely a loop for us to just connect up. We're gonna be doing it more, and of course I'll have some more music streams as well coming up on Friday. Have a crazy DJ set that I recorded recently. Like, yeah, I'm actually super excited to share with you. So that will be debuting on Friday for our ZONECAST. And on Thursday we have how to fuck shit up and maintain a career, where that will be moderated. So I'll be going off, but it'll be more people, and usually when it's more people, I go off even harder. So tune into that with Tom Tom Magazine. And yeah, stay tuned. Never Normal, making more content, making more ways for us to connect. Not even content, but ways for us to connect. If this so be it. But really, I just liked chatting with y'all today. So I will be back. And thank you so much for being here with me today. And I don't know, they don't say like and subscribe on here. Whatever. Like and subscribe. Thank you and much love. Have a great Monday. Talk to y'all soon.